Look at this. Look at this. All these wet marks all over me.
Look at you. You're so sweaty.
I'm like a Fortnite. I'm like a Fortnite skin. I'm sweaty, John.
I don't know if that's. Do they use the terminology? I feel like the terminology already changed. We just learned that word, Rob, and it's probably already something new. Go to YouTube, look up Fortnite skins, and see what word pops up, folks.
In fact, here's a better question for you, John. Is anybody still playing Fortnite that's under the age of 20-something?
It's still a great game. It's still great. I keep wanting to go back. I've been off it for a little while though.
Yeah.
You still actively playing?
I haven't. No, maybe like once a week now. It just listen, man. Summertime.
The guy says no, and then he proceeds to say maybe once a week I play it.
Yeah, maybe once a week. I'll be honest with you. Summertime. I've said this to you before. I don't play a lot of games in the summertime because I try to be as outdoors as much as possible, and reading. So that's kind of my. Yeah, I haven't been playing a lot of games.
Yeah. No, it gets busy, especially you got young kids and you want to get out, enjoy that fun in the sun. Yeah, shout outs to Lewis. Yeah, Rob notoriously avoided all our games when we got together.
Incorrect. I sent you many a friend request and you're to play, and you're like, oh,
no. Every time I got together with Lewis and everybody else, and we were like, let's see if Rob's on. You were never there, but
okay.
No, that happens a lot of times. Schedules.
But Lewis is like he's like top level. He's top tier. I think I would just be embarrassing if I was to play with him now.
Yeah, basically you slow him down.
Yeah, him and Frazier are like intense.
I like run around and I just die, and I'm like, help, heal me. So what's up, folks? Welcome to the Sidekick Show. It is Monday, August 8th. So 0808. That's kind of cool, right? All right, yeah, 88. 008.
If that makes you feel better, sure.
Yeah. All right. So welcome. If you're catching the show on the replay, we are live every Monday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We would love it for you to join us and chit chat with us and have some fun with us. We're gonna talk about news, movies, all kinds of fun stuff. We're just here to hang out. So I hope you guys enjoy hanging out with us and hopefully you have some laughs. Shout outs to my Dirty Dancing pick for summer movies. If anyone's watched Dirty Dancing over the summer, let me know. Rob, how are you doing this fine Monday? We usually open the show up with what did you do this week? So, or how was your weekend, folks? So if you got a chance to see, there was a lot of content that dropped. I think Frazier shouted out some things that he saw that came out this week. So there's a lot of stuff to watch this week, a lot of stuff to catch up on. And there's a whole bunch of stuff coming. Like, it's crazy. We had a little lull like a week or two ago, and then now it's just, you have so many choices right now, and you also want to be outside. So I don't know who's getting to see what or whatnot. So let me give it to you, Rob. How was your weekend, man?
It was good, bro. It was good. It was very warm and hot outside. I was sweating.
Heat wave.
I was outside doing work on Saturday. I was just doing yard work, and in the morning I wanted to get it over and done with, and I was like turning my head and I had like sweat pouring off, like flying off me like it was in like a movie. I was like, what is happening? And then I went and jumped in the pool and continued to get darker and darker in my skin tone. So I'm liking that. But here's what I did, John. Here's what I got up to. Last week you recommended, I think it was last week, a documentary called The Most Hated Man on the Internet. I watched it.
I didn't necessarily recommended it. I said I watched it. What did you think?
I thought it was well done. Listen, it's worth watching, more of a cautionary tale, and also to remind ourselves of what it was like back in the early 2000s with, all those. What was that brand of videos? Bad Girls or Naughty Girls, whatever it was. Remember that? Girls Gone Wild. Right? But that was kind of...
those guys, I wonder what they pivoted into, because they basically got replaced with the internet. Everything, YouTube, everything basically replaced their product. So that's kind
so of it was interesting to kind of take you back to that, and then to realize just how poorly women were treated, even like
just people in general. This guy seemed like a pretty bad scumbag.
He was a prick.
I will say the documentary kind of kept circling around, almost like they kind of like keep you from pressing change to the next thing. So it was well designed to keep you kind of, what happened next? What happened next? When are we going to find out what eventually happened to this guy? So I felt like they did a good job with that, but it was also annoying. So maybe it was longer than it should have been. But what else? Yeah, what else? Did you
yeah, so there's a TV show, John, from 2017 with Tom Hardy. It's called Taboo, and it's been coming up on my Netflix for like a long time. So I figure I'm going to give it a go. It's 10 episodes. Listen, it is not a show that you can put on the background. It's not something you can, if you're doing like a half hour of cardio at the gym in the morning, you want to throw something on while doing it, you can't.
I like how your cardio is the chops, the Vogue.
Yeah, that's how I know.
Rob turns on Madonna's Vogue for like a good 2-3 minutes in the morning. That is the cardio.
And so it's a fantastic show. It takes place in the 1800s with England, and they're actually it's about the territorial rights of what will now become Vancouver Island. But it's really cool.
It's
but it's something I actually have to sit and pay attention and watch. So I'm slowly making my way through that. In the meantime, John, I watched Pray on the new
the MC Hammer documentary about praying every day.
That's right. Yeah.
Pray.
Yeah. I watched that on Saturday, and I think we'll probably be talking more about that in the next week or two. And then, John, I went to the theater and I saw Bullet Train. And I think at some point you and I are going to have to do a review of this.
Let's do our quick pitch on it though. Like, do you recommend people see Bullet Train? I think a lot of people didn't go to see it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't think a lot of people, I mean, it made $30.2 million at the box office opening weekend, which is, I comparative to other blockbusters is not very high. It won the weekend, but I think people really need to go see this. Man, this is a fun August action flick. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to tell you something, John. I'd be more inclined. I'm off on vacation in the next couple of weeks. I would be more inclined to go see this in the theater again than I would to go see Thor 3 in the theater again.
Whoa, you got to hate on Thor some fierce.
No, I'm just saying, this is like, it's a little bit long. I will say it's a little bit long, but it is hell of a lot of fun, and it's funny, and it's really good. And my son and I, we loved watching it. So I want to see this movie again. So my recommendation,
because the reviews are kind of mixed. Like if you go to Rotten Tomatoes and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of like sits in the middle, and then you'll see a big discrepancy. And you hear anywhere from people who absolutely hated it to people absolutely loved it. But I thought it was fantastic fun as well. If you enjoyed the trailer, and you're a Brad Pitt fan, I don't know if you're not a Brad Pitt. Who's not a Brad Pitt fan, right? Like, why would you go see this, right? So
probably Angelina Jolie.
I don't know. I feel like they're probably all right. They got to get along with the kids, right? But if you enjoyed that trailer, this movie is going to deliver on that, on the excitement and fun from the trailer. To me, it kind of reminded me a little bit of that Netflix movie we watched earlier, The Harder They Fall, where they kind of just dropped in different characters and they were just kind of fun to see on screen. I thought it was the Western. Do you remember the Western?
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. You didn't dig it. You and Stu didn't dig it, but it was kind of fun. Like they drop these characters in, they get a little bit of backstory, and you get to do cool stuff. And of course, Brad Pitt kind of carries everything with his kind of humorous take on not quite John Wick. I think I would best describe it as. So I would say, yeah, definitely check it out. If you do wait till it comes home to streaming, I think you'll be all right too. But it was honestly
I think that in today's, like, listen, there's not a lot out in theaters right now. And so if you're looking for a way to escape and beat the heat, or even just go on a Saturday on a rainy day or whatever, like I'm telling you, you could go see Top Gun again, and you could go see Thor again if you really felt like it or whatever. I'm telling you though, you will come out of Bullet Train really like being, you know what? I'm glad I spent the money on that. I think it's a great movie. Yeah.
I would recommend it. I'd only not recommend it if you saw that trailer and you were like, "What the F is this? I have no interest in this." Right?
There's a lot more to it than what there's in the trailer.
Yeah. But I feel like the trailer is a good indication if you're gonna like this or not. So shout outs to that Bullet Train and Prey. Rob, are you recommending Prey? Yes or no?
Yeah. Totally am. Totally am.
So we're gonna get into Prey. I think. Yeah. Rob was saying people are saying it's the second best Predator movie. So we'll see what the first is, and maybe we'll do some exploration into that topic. I watched the first half of it, and I'm digging it. I'm really digging it. It looks really good. It's available on Disney Plus. Make sure you have your parental settings turned down, whatever profile you're looking for, because you're not gonna find it on your kid's profile. So Prey. Yeah.
So what about you, John? What was your weekend like? What did you get up to? What have you been watching recently?
Yeah, so my weekend was bonkers. We had the VonCon show on Saturday, which was at the Von Sportsplex 2 Arena or whatever, which is normally a basketball, soccer, whatever dome. So it was a lot of fun. They had a lot of cosplayers there. They had a guy cutting people's hair. So I watched him cut hair for like the entire day for free, like kids and stuff like that.
I saw that. Yeah.
It was a little warm. The AC was not great in that unit, and of course it's the hottest day of the year. You know, not much you can do. This show has been put off since I signed up for this show over 2 years ago, Rob. So It's been pushed back, put off, all that kind of stuff. So I had to cut them a little slack on it, but overall, I think they did a really good job. So I'm looking forward to going back when they hold the next one. And then the next day, we did the Diecast Car Show, which is Hot Wheels and fun stuff like that. And I was also at the show on the store on Sunday, hanging out and seeing everybody playing their games. I only got to see the first half of Prey, and I'm trying to think if I watched anything else. I don't other than. Sorry, my daughter just pulled my headphones out. Other than the Gray Man that I watched for today, I didn't get to see much else. So, okay, Veronica, I'll let Rob take it away. Anything else we got to cover?
Yeah. So, thanks, John and Veronica, for doing your cameo. If you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Heroes World podcast, Stu, myself, and John, we did a rundown of kind of what happened last week with the big, massive bombshell of Batgirl being canceled, and then the call that Warner Brothers Discovery, the new owners of Warner Brothers, what their earnings call stipulated or stated with respect to the future of DC Comics or DC movies, I should say. So we had a big chat about that. We also did. Stu came at us with some random questions on news. Bits, kind of like the things that we do here on the Sidekick Show. So if you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Heroes World podcast, please go ahead and do so. Check it out. It's a lively discussion, really focusing on what happened last week with DC and Warner Brothers and what's to come. And there's going to be a conversation we're going to be talking about, again, a little bit more tonight as well in the news that's coming up. But, John, what do you have in store at the store?
Yeah. Madhouse, it is all DC stuff. So yeah, if you're not following us on the Instagram, Facebook, we do post our new comic releases every week at the shop.
Look at that.
Heroes World online, and then it is New Comic Book Day this Wednesday, and there's a brand new Predator #1 coming from Marvel. So with all this Predator hype, you definitely are going to want to check out that #1 and a whole host of other titles. You can see the full list on our Instagram and Facebook. And we have been getting steady stocks of all kinds of fun stuff. Too much for me to list now. Come check us out. New McFarlane stuff, new Hasbro Star Wars Black Series, all kinds of fun stuff at the shop. So come check us out. 8601 Warden Avenue. So let me kick it back to Rob for the news.
Yeah. The ball. All right. I'm so I guess, you know, I might as well just get into the news because I do want to have some of the participation from those who are live in the chat tonight. And I'll let you know when we're going to do that. But if you are listening to this after the fact, do us a favor, review us on the Apple Podcast or Spotify. The algorithms definitely help us. We really appreciate the subscription and the comments. Generally positive for me and so for John, and that's okay. Hey, John.
Yeah. Okay. What's up, Rob? What's going on? What's crazy? What's breaking the internet? Who's reporting what? Who is saying things that I didn't see it on your story, but maybe we'll talk about it. Who's saying things at cons that is not true and having to retract their statements?
Right. Yeah. Well, listen, the biggest news of the week is, of course, Kim Kardashian and Pete.
I was so sad. I came on a bullet train to that news, and I was like, oh, man.
So listen, yeah, obviously last week the big news was Warner Brothers and the Batgirl, and the day that they kind of announced it and it was a turmoil, they also said, oh, but here we're going to throw something at you to make you feel better. We're going to introduce to you Joker, Folie à deux, which means a shared delusional disorder. And they confirmed that Lady Gaga will be joining the cast of Joker 2. Let's just call it Joker 2.
J2.
Yeah, J2. This is going to be a musical, and it's dropping October the 4th, 2024. So, John, there's been a lot of speculation and whatnot. Is this yay, nay for you? Do you care? And we actually, just this afternoon, like late this afternoon, like around 5-ish, I think Zazie Beetz confirmed that she looks like she will be back for this sequel as well, because she played the Arthur's neighbor, if you recall correctly, in the apartment complex. So Zazie Beetz will be back for Joker 2. So, John, what are your thoughts on this version of Joker returning and it being a musical?
I feel like this is going to be a trend if you watch the last podcast, but the trend is what if you haven't seen Joker 1, which is the situation I'm in? Do I care about this? And because Lady Gaga is involved,
Yep.
I'm interested. And then
Okay.
you did say musical. I'm pretty sure your eyes are glazing over as soon as you heard musical.
Yeah, it was like my worst thing. I was like, oh god, no.
Yeah. But Lady Gaga is hella talented. I don't know if
Yeah.
and she's hella interesting. She's been in a whole bunch of movies. I think I didn't see House of Gucci, and a bunch of.
It's
other,
on Amazon Prime, so
yeah. Or House of Gucky. Right. You wanted your Friends reference. But she's hella talented, hella interesting. If you check out her Howard Stern interview, especially, she's like super interesting. So I'm interested, but I don't know if I ever want to watch Joker 1. So we'll see.
Okay, so we've talked about this before. Lewis said in the comments, Joker was very mental health, trauma, disturbed, one bad day kind of thing. And I think we talked about this. I went and saw this movie at the theater with my wife and another couple. And my wife and I, it was in October it came out, right? So we left and we were just like really bummed out. It was a very, that was 2019, John. I haven't seen it since. I do want to sit down and rewatch it again, but it really zapped a lot out of me. So I don't know. I'm really kind of I'm nonplussed about this information because I think we would have been fine with just what we got. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on it.
The musical though, if it is fully a musical, are you is it off the shelf completely, or do you enjoy some musicals like La La Land or whatever?
I never saw La La Land actually.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So, but whatever. Now, John, we got a reveal, as you know, She-Hulk is coming in the next couple of weeks. It's dropping on August the 18th, which is a Thursday. And you're like, wait, Thursday? I thought Disney liked to do things on Wednesdays. Well, for She-Hulk, they've kicked it up a day. And at the same time that they talked about that, they revealed that Andor is now moving to September. So I think they wanted to give a little bit of space between the two properties. That being said, something came out yesterday, I believe it was, John, Sunday, or was it Saturday, that had the internet going crazy. If you remember that Comic-Con trailer for She-Hulk, you saw the bottom half of Daredevil. You saw the clubs and the bottom part of his suit. And we were like, what does he look like? Well, now we know because Disney Plus has released the top portion of Old Hornhead for us to take a look at.
Well, yeah, the end of the She-Hulk trailer, it was like someone in a black outfit with two billy clubs.
I wonder who it could be.
Yeah, unless they're gonna do an obscure like Night Thrasher cameo. But here's the thing: cover your eyes if you don't want to see this. I don't think it's really spoilery per se.
Well, yeah, Disney Plus has released it, so
yeah. So yeah, is that gold or yellow, Rob?
Well, it looks kind of goldish underneath the yellow street lamps.
Yeah,
shining off his helmet. It's a very metallic looking helmet.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I mean, we're not getting the full picture on this. Obviously, you can see there's some yellow on the shoulders. Look at that collar, though. I gotta say, I'm liking this outfit. It does look similar to the Netflix version of the costume. Like there is some definite similarities.
It's like he's wearing a helmet, but I don't recall the horns being that pointy. In the Netflix series.
Yeah, I think if you go back and take a look, you'd be surprised. They actually are not. They're pretty close to what you see here. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So we're thinking maybe it's shout outs to this old yellow Man Without Fear costume. There was a brief point in time where he wore an armored suit that was like kind of gray, and I think Scott McDaniel drew it, and maybe it was during one of Frank Miller's runs or something like that. But there was a point where he was wearing a Daredevil armored suit, which was gray and stuff like that. So who knows what this is exactly going to mimic. But are you looking forward to Daredevil back in your TV?
I am.
In your TV eyes or whatever?
My eyeballs. I am. I think, you know what? This is maybe one of the things, though. It's like where I had this feeling with the first season of Daredevil on Netflix, where it's like I just wanted. We saw him in the suit. When you that Friday when the show debuted, the banner was Daredevil in this full red suit. It kind of like spoiled. You're like, oh, all right. And then you got to see it only in the last episode. You're like, I went through 9 episodes to get to this image that you've been teasing.
Yeah, he would wear this black kind of like
he was the black
type get up, which did look good. I thought it was a good looking costume.
But when they're showcasing on the premiere day the red suit, you're like, I'm gonna get the red suit in like episode 3 or 4, and you didn't get it till the 10th. You're like, come on, man. So all that to say is, I hope we don't get this reveal on the last episode of She-Hulk, because I'll be like,
very final episode of She-Hulk.
Yeah, it'll be the last scene.
And
the last scene. All right, we're gonna kick back over to the Warner Brothers Fallout, and so I would ask those, if you are in the chat, if you want to give us your thoughts on what you think. I know that Fraser at one point said he thought this whole thing with the Batgirl was bullshit about them canceling. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. But I will say this. The guy you're seeing on your screen right now is Walter Hamada. He is the current head of DC movie division. He apparently, John, was pretty pissed off about the whole cancellation of Batgirl. He found out at a screening. So there's a lot to unpack, but really quickly, they did a test screening of Batgirl on the unfinished product. It only scored about a 60%, which is the same score that the upcoming Shazam Fury of the Gods scored. Also of note, it scored a little bit higher than 2017's It movie that went on to make over $790 million. But whatever. Usually unfinished movies score relatively low because they're unfinished, and especially when you're an effects heavy movie. So Hamada found out after that screening that Warner Brothers Discovery were going to give the old boot to Batgirl, and he was pretty pissed off and wanted to walk away. The current heads of the movie division have kind of asked him to, begged him. They say, at least they would like him to stay. He has now said, okay, you know what? I'm going to stay on until October when Black Adam drops. And now it's looking like he might just kick off after Black Adam, which, John, if rumors are true in the Hollywood trades, and generally speaking, like the Variety and Deadlines are pretty good with this, it stands to reason that Hamada is looking to make some pretty serious cheddar on that Black Adam based on how his contract and his production facility went with the production of Black Adam. So it's no surprise if he was to walk away now, he may not be entitled to any of those special bonuses. So he's going to stay on at least until Black Adam, which is October 21st or 23rd. We'll see what happens to Hamada afterwards. I will say, though, John, you know, there's been a lot of controversy with Hamada, especially with around the whole Ray Fisher ordeal with Joss Whedon. But he kind of was the one that said, listen, guys, we have a multiverse here. There's a multiverse in the comics, and we need to exploit that for the movies. The audience aren't dumb. They will understand what is a connected universe, what are these one-off universes. We have the multiverse. We can have multiple versions of these characters. We're always looking for somebody to kind of steer the good ship DC. And, you know, Hamada was doing a decent job. I actually, you know, would even whatever happened with him and the Joss Whedon stuff, I would actually think I would hate to see him leave his post if he so chooses to go. But we shall see what happens after October. And then the next piece of business was that apparently Warner Brothers Discovery, listen, the new head of Warner Brothers Discovery is a big David Zaslav. His focus and attention wants to be put on Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Especially
the Trinity.
The Trinity, DC. But especially Superman. Yeah. He's very He's like, listen, we've got the biggest character in all of comics sitting here, and when we're at almost 10 years since Man of Steel, what are we doing with this character? And in that vein, reports came out last week from Humberto Gonzalez, who I've mentioned here before, El Mayimbe, if you are online. He's a big scooper. He breaks a lot, writes for the Rap in Hollywood. He was saying that, listen, WB really want Cavill to stay. They are trying to entice him to come back into the role, but so far Cavill just isn't interested in stepping back into the red boots. Now, is it possible that Henry Cavill will resume his role as Superman? Yes, I think based on what Umberto was saying, that, you know, if the right idea or property is presented to him, then it may sway him. But so far, it's been a lot of, we would like you to stay, and Cavill's more like, well, show me what I would be staying for. So that's kind of like the trickle down effect and the fallout from last Wednesday's cancellation of Batgirl and all those other properties. We're going to hear a lot more about what's been going on with WB in the movies in the future. including what's going to happen with the Flash after tonight's news that arrest warrant was issued for Ezra Miller. So, for those in the comments, let me know. John, did you see anything? Was anybody commenting at all about?
Yeah. Give them a second to catch up. We do have a 10-second delay. But my 2 cents is 100%. You're right. What they're saying there. You have arguably the most recognizable superhero in your stable, and also most arguably the second most. And you can even start to argue where Batman and Superman rest. I feel like Batman has overtaken him in popularity, but Superman, everyone recognizes Superman so much so that if you held up a picture of him and they were like, I don't know who that is, you'd be like, you are from another planet or something. I don't know what you
are from Krypton.
Yeah, you are from Krypton. Are you Clark Kent? Are you trying to pawn this off? But yeah, this character should be everywhere. Like, you've seen it. They already do it right now with Batman. Batman branding on anything sells said anything. So why can Superman not enjoy the same fame? Why even mess with the movies? Why isn't there a Superman cartoon that's number one in the kids sphere, right? Why is stuff like Paw Patrol and Baby Transformers, the name slipped my mind.
Rescue Bots?
Rescue Bots. Like why are these types of properties like just dominating that market, right? We did Super Pets came out. Is Super Pets out now?
Yeah, it is out now.
I
think it did okay.
Yeah, I feel like no one's really talking about it, but why is Superman not up there? It's ridiculous, and for them to have this guy that is generally universally 100%, I think everyone is already on board with Cavill. The argument is with that movie that he was in and all the movies that he's appeared in. So 100%, I think someone said it in the comments, like, yeah, Cavill has every right to say that. Hey, show me what you're gonna do with me, so I don't waste 10 years of my life for a movie that you're gonna make turn into a piece of crap, right? So I don't know. What do you think? I know you're like, Cavill wasn't your number one guy. I think Christopher Reeve's still up there, right?
Oh yeah. Listen,
Cavill, he's up there, right?
I've been a fan of Cavill, and I've always said, listen, I want him back. I think but we are 10 years out since Man of Steel. And how many Superman movies will we get with Cavill? Like, I know that I sound like a selfish asshole, but I'm kind of like, well, if you're going to be starting to make these movies, you got to be pumping them out every couple. If you're only focusing on Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and maybe Aquaman, you got to start pumping these movies out at a pretty rapid pace.
They should be coming out slightly faster than a James Bond movie, should they not?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Quick comment to Lewis. He's got Witcher, but Witcher is no Superman. Just to say.
Yeah. So I don't know. We talked about this, I think, in our pod with Stu. And I actually guested on my buddy Sammy's My Summer Lair. We did a Twitter discussion about this on the Friday, and I said there as well, I am of the mind, John, that if Black Adam does well, which it will, there's no doubt about it, I think you're going to see The Rock's involvement, especially with the $7 production, being heavily invested in the future of DC movies. And so, I think if anybody could probably bring Cavill back into the role, it will probably be The Rock and Danny Garcia, who's his agent, and The Rock's ex-wife. So, I can see that. That being said, if there was an opportunity they say, you know what, Cavill is done. He's 40 something, which is not old because we're in our 40s. But he doesn't want to do it anymore, then I'm open for them to bring somebody else in. But the clock's ticking. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ought to be having a Superman movie up on the screens within the next 3 years. That's just the reality. There's no reason as to why you can't. So let's get moving. You're on mute, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I said.
That's all you got.
I just moved my lips around a bunch of times.
Yeah. And Lewis is saying Ezra Miller has been charged with burglary. That came out today. For whatever reason, where it is escapes me. Colorado maybe or something. Anyways, So this will be interesting, John. Listen. They've put a WB. This is the one movie though that David Zaslav said he's very excited about. He's very excited for this movie to come out. It's coming out in June of 2023. Apparently, according to reports, they've had a number of test screenings and it's like scored through the roof. People are really jazzed about this. They're jazzed to see Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck together.
Yeah, we're talking about Flash, right?
In the Flash movie, but. Yeah. This could be one of those movies, John, where your lead actor, your principal actor will be nowhere to be found promoting this movie. So, will these incidents? Because listen, I think it's safe to say, John, that by the end of this month there'll be another Ezra Miller story, and there'll probably be 2 to 3 a month until next June. Will WB put the brakes on it, which selfishly I don't want them to. I want this movie to come out. Or will this, because it's going to be too much money for them to reshoot. He plays multiple roles in this movie. So I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, so the question is, Rob, are you going to be able to separate the art from the artist, I guess, is the question, right? Are you going to be able to listen to your R. Kelly music and put aside what he's done? Like, can you
good question. That's a good question, because when I watch like some of my favorite movies, The Usual Suspects, I can't help when I see Kevin Spacey, I can't help but my mind automatically thinks about the controversies with him. And so it is a very difficult, I don't know how you navigate. My buddy Sammy, though, he says not a lot of people really know who Ezra Miller is. Like us nerds, we know. But for the most part, the general public don't really know who he is.
I feel like the general public is not following this story as much as us. And it didn't blow up like it did the Amber Heard stuff.
Yeah.
So his inclusion in the movie, they might just think, don't take offense to this, Rob. Oh, just another white guy playing a superhero. They might be like, oh, yeah, dark-haired white guy playing superhero. I know that guy. He was really good in all those other movies I saw him in. Meanwhile, it's the same guy they think he is. But yeah, it's I feel like if they dropped it, especially now before it starts getting worse and worse, like say he gets arrested and say some more stuff comes out and then he goes on a trial, and then that becomes public, then that blows everything up even more. So maybe they should. But yeah, again, it's going to be hard. Like we both really enjoyed The Shield. One of the characters from The Shield did some bad stuff. I've watched a couple episodes since. He wasn't a main character though. No. And same thing like Smallville. They have a whole podcast right now, and Allison Mack is in that show. A very big part of that
She's
season.
Every episode.
She's in every episode. She carries a lot of the material, and they avoid talking about her like it's the plague. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, it'll probably open this whole discussion of can you separate the art from the artist?
Well, listen, this is not going to be the last time we're talking about the Flash movie before.
Yeah. It's going to come up again. When
probably in the next couple of weeks.
When am I going to be able to listen to Ignition the remix? I don't know. Who knows? So we're going to find out what's going to happen. When are you going to be able to watch the Flash? Associated with the
but that John is the news, and thanks to those who commented and whatnot. We will obviously keep our ear to the ground and let you know about any new developments, what's happening with this WB Discovery and how it affects DC, but that's where we are.
Yeah. So a couple of guys in the comments are joking. Yeah, Flash update every Monday. Yeah, I think it's gonna happen. It might happen. Hopefully everything's out of proportion, but I don't know. We can only speculate. At this point. So shout out to that. Rob, I did want to mention. I don't know if you saw Rosario Dawson during some con said that Punisher was coming back, and then she retracted
as a Punisher. Yeah, and she retracted it this afternoon. She was like, I guess I should be vetting these things when I hear fans coming up and telling me. I just assumed that they were right. I had no idea. So
why would they lie to me?
Why would a guy who wants my autograph, talk at a fan convention, lie to me about John Barenthal coming back as a Punisher?
Yeah, I don't think anyone was mad at her about it, but it did seem kind of funny that she got almost like clickbaited news or whatever, fake news.
That's hilarious, right?
Or maybe it's all an elaborate scheme to get John Barenthal back into this role. So
maybe I'm going to tell you though, John, I would be fine if he didn't come back in that role.
I'm actually with you. While I did enjoy his time as the Punisher, and he did that season of Daredevil he showed up in was fantastic.
Yeah.
he's really good in other stuff, so he's going to move on to other projects. Bring someone else in to have fun with it. I think.
And I also feel, honestly, I've said this before. Aside from that season when in Daredevil season 2 when he was in it, that was the only time he was the Punisher. His 2 seasons of that show, he was not the Punisher. Like it was a really slow, trudgy show. It
was more like when I watched his actual season, I was like, this is kind of like what a Jack Reacher show would be kind of like,
right? Yeah.
Which we might see happen. But yeah, I would actually prefer to see a new character. I almost want to say let's start recasting everybody, because now we have Daredevil coming back, we have Kingpin coming back, we have other rumors of other people circulating. If everything just becomes the Netflix show, but in Marvel now, do you think you're going to be happy? I feel like I want to see some fresh talent and faces.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was surprised they brought back Charlie Cox for Daredevil. Yeah. I mean, the fan outcry was huge. Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, I think, was kind of perfect casting. Not to say that Charlie Cox isn't, but I'm happy that he's back. But yeah, you know what? I listen. I know there's a lot of people who are fans of is it Mike Coulter, right? He played
Mike Coulter is the case. So if I had to choose one more to bring back, I would probably ask
you want the guy from Iron Fist, you said.
No, hell no. I think what's her name? Jessica Henwick or whatever, who does appear in the movie that we're going to talk about coming up. I would like her to come back as Colleen Wing, because I think she really did.
Yeah, she was awesome.
She actually stole the show in that, and we didn't get enough of her. So I feel like bringing her into it would be cool. Everybody else, I feel like they did their thing. They put their stamp on it. I'm fine with them moving on from that. So yeah, shout outs to that. Time will tell.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that's it for the news, John. And thanks everybody. We are moving into our movie of the night, and I'm excited to hear what John has to say about this. So should I just get into it, bud?
Yeah. Do you want it? How do you want to open? Do you have stats for it?
Of course I do.
Because it's a streaming movie, right? So I don't know if the same box office budget, all that type of stuff.
I got a budget. I got a box office number for you.
Okay, let's talk it. Let's talk it up, folks. So if you haven't seen The Gray Man, now streaming on Netflix, check it out. 100% check it out. If not, well, we're going to talk about it, and hopefully that'll maybe sell you on it if you decided to not watch it yet, or not sell you on it. We're going to give you our recommendation in a second, but let's hand it over to Rob, and he's going to give you the lowdown of what is The Gray Man, any relation to the Purple Man.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Speaking of Alias, written by the duo known as Marcus and McFeely, they are writers of some of the biggest MCU movies, including the last 2 Avengers movies. The Gray Man is based on the novel of the same name, written by Mark Greaney. The movie is directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, directors of some of the biggest MCU movies, including the last 2 Avengers movies, as well as John's favorite Community episodes. With a reported budget of $200 million, the movie was released in theaters and has made, as of today's date, $451,651 at the box office. However, it was a made-for-Netflix movie and is on record as being the most expensive Netflix-produced movie to date. Starring Canadian superstar Ryan Gosling, underwater welder, Chris Evans, Anna de Armas, Jessica Henwick, Regé-Jean Page, Alfre Woodard, and Billy Bob Thornton. The Gray Man is a CIA espionage movie that was initially going to star Brad Pitt, and then Charlize Theron was in talks way back in 2011, and then the Russos came on board and started making this movie happen in July of 2020. The movie is the #1 watch movie in the world on Netflix, with a reported streaming, John, of 88.55 million hours in its first 3 days. Not surprisingly, a sequel has been announced, with all creative parties returning, and with Ryan Gosling, of course, and a spinoff has also been announced that will take place in the Gray Man universe. So kind of like Jeremy Renner's Bourne Legacy movie that took place in Matt Damon's Bourne universe. By the way,
which John, we are not going to talk about.
No. By the way, John, there are currently 11 Gray Man books out there, with a 12th due out in 2023. The Gray Man is a mixed bag on Rotten Tomatoes, as you can see on the screen. Critics called it rotten with a 46% rating, but audiences have told the critics they're whack with a score of 91% fresh. So, John, are you in line with the critics or with the audience on The Gray Man?
All right. So The Gray Man, Fun times. Look at the books. They are available in audiobook format as well. If you are an Audible member, you can listen to them there. And we've seen a whole bunch of these cool novel, serialized novel heroes come to the screen lately. So I think we'll talk a little bit later about where.
Hey, Joey, why did you use air quotes? It's moo.
moo point. It's Cal's opinion, doesn't matter. Anyways, overall, like Rob said, the score there is pretty rough, 46% on the tachometer or whatever you want to call it. But I actually quite enjoyed this movie, Rob. I think definitely the first half is better than the latter half. I did talk to Jonathan Yo a little bit about it. He said it was like basically every spy operative movie you've seen rolled into one. And yeah, it is heavily, basically all the cliches are there. The agency that he works for turns on him and he's got to get it back, and then people help him out and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things that you've seen before, but I think they executed everything really well. Some of the terminology they use, like the whole Sierra 11, all that kind of stuff, sounds really cool. But overall, I like it, and I look forward to seeing more. So if this is a setup for more to come, I think it's an absolutely perfect way of, maybe not absolutely perfect, but it's a very good way of doing it and not effing it up. If this is it, then yeah, they kind of screwed up. But if we're going to see more, then this is 100% a good way to get it rolling. It's not 11 out of 10, Steve. Get that but let me kick it to you, and then we'll chop it up, and we'd like to hear your guys' opinions as well. Rob, what did you overall feel about this? I think you were the most hype about this when we finally saw it drop. We finally got a trailer for it, all that kind of yada yada. Because before it was a big mystery box. I think when we were talking about it for upcoming summer hits, there wasn't a lot available for it. We didn't even know it was based off a book, 100% confirmed or not. So what did you think overall?
Yeah, man. So once we saw that first trailer, I was pretty stoked about it. I was kind of following this project. I know they had announced it last year, and so I was like, oh, the Gray Man, what's this about? Knew it was based off a book, but I kind of forgot. And I didn't, obviously, having forgotten, I didn't read any of the books. But I'm going to tell you right now, John, I am going to go grab that first book.
Yeah.
I think this movie was hell of a lot of fun. I've read some reviews of the book, and it's apparently just as gangbusters. This movie is like, listen, man, it is in my wheelhouse. As you said, you got the espionage thing, you have the spy, the secret missions, like that I love that genre. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know people, they love musicals or they love dramas because they want to cry all the time, or they love superhero movies, right? Like, I love, a lot of those as well. But man, these espionage, these underdogs, these secret, these perfect,
highly trained operatives. Trained operatives.
I love that stuff, right? And so when it's done well, like, for me, I'm like, I would rewatch this again. I've watched this twice, John. I would throw this on again as well. Like, I could end the show tonight. I would just actually walk off right now, leave you for rest, and I go throw it on because I think it's just so much fun, right? This, it's funny that the author of these books has also done some Tom Clancy books, because as we know, Tom Clancy is no longer with us. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, like, remember that Without Remorse? Was that the one with Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah. It might be the name. I always get it wrong. When I'm like, I'm going to go resume this, I'm like, With Remorse, Without, No Remorse. I think I typed No Remorse a bunch of times. And I'm like, where'd this movie go?
Well, let me just tell you, though, like, that's a movie that is similar to the CIA operative, and yet this was so much better than that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when they can do it. Listen, man, you said it. It's full of cliches. It's a really easy plot. It doesn't take a lot to execute it. When you get too convoluted and too slowing and boring, then it's like, it's stupid. It's Without Remorse. When you do it well, you get the Gray Man, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. And I think it's in part for three things. One, I think the script was fantastic in terms of, like, it's a dumb action movie. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a fun, dumb action movie that doesn't require a hell of a lot of thinking, but it, like, kept you, like, invested in it.
Well, it brings you into the world, right? It sells you on the world, but like you said, the plot points are like A, B, C, D. There's no zigzag to get to the next letter. It's basically this, and that's what I actually really want to see from Netflix. Keep it simple. Get some hits on the board before you start going like all this crazy shit.
Yeah, I don't need it to be artsy. Number two is that the acting, like, First of all, I thought Ryan Gosling was hilarious in this movie. Like, this guy does, like, he can do no wrong in my eyes. Whatever he's doing, whether it's La La Land, which is you mentioned earlier, The Notebook, which I know is like your next to favorite movie, or The Gray Man. This guy, or even like last week with Drive. So I'm a big fan of this guy. But even Chris Evans, like, he didn't take it.
Oh, he was having fun.
He was having so much fun playing against type for him, and he was over the top. He wasn't like one of these nefarious henchmen. Like, I'll be honest with you, if you had this script and you threw it was a James Bond thing, the henchman, like the bad guy, would have been super ultra serious, and that wasn't in this. And you didn't need it to be a menacing bad guy because he was psychotic enough that you were like, oh, this is off-putting. I mean, he was hilarious, right? So I think Chris Evans played it fantastically. And I got to say, I enjoyed the third thing for me. Like somebody said, the action scenes. I thought the action scenes and the fight stuff was fantastic. If I was going to give it one knock, though, John, the directing, like these are the guys that gave us The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And for a movie that this is like another espionage type movie, I was very surprised at how it didn't have that same espionage type feel. Like it just felt this side of Mission Impossible. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
less of the sneaky aspect or kind of suspense elements like Winter Soldier would have those musical cues. Like this one, I actually don't remember the music at all, except for the record that they play for when the girl's not supposed to hear what's going on. But maybe they didn't build that anticipation. So we're gonna go if for some reason you guys didn't see it yet and you guys were kind of on the fence. I think we both recommend it. A lot of the people in the comments say. So now we'll go like full spoiler chit chat, even though I don't think it really matters. But is the Chris Evans character the Ryan Gosling's brother? Like, no. Did I miss a step? Okay, I thought they were gonna, because they showed him getting like kind of drowned, and then the father, he's like, I shot the father, and I thought they were gonna do a reveal.
No, I think that was Ryan Gosling thinking back to when his father was beating him and stuff.
Okay,
and that motivated him because he remembered drowning his father, putting him in the bathtub, and
I like that this plot was like, it was straightforward. Like it's very clear. Like he fights him at the end. Like this is your big boss fight.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes mano a mano with him, whatever the cliche. He's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna snipe this guy, and he's like, no, let's go, let's test this out. Yeah. And he goes and fights him, and I thought that was really cool.
But the best part though, John, is that he actually didn't finish him. Somebody else finished him.
Yeah. Jessica Henwick character comes in and shoots him, and I'm like, didn't you just get blown up? And then at the end of the movie, they're all in like, all three of them are sitting down, and the CIA or whatever the agency is lecturing them. It's like, and they're basically like, don't do this again type thing. I'm like, didn't she fire a rocket into a room full of agents and blow them up? Shout out to Anna de Armas.
Anna de Armas, yeah.
She was really great. I wasn't a huge fan of the haircut. She definitely looked way better in Mission Impossible. No, we want the other spy franchise, James Bond. Of course, she looked better, but she got to dress in like something completely crazy. But how did you feel about her?
Yeah, I thought she was great. I actually thought we would have seen a little bit more of her action prowess that we did get to see in No Time to Die. But that's, it's fine. It's, it is what it is. I thought she was a great addition to the cast. Like, in fact, I thought the cast all did like a fantastic job. Like Billy Bob Thornton, it was just fun to watch on the screen.
Like there's one point, I forget what he says, and they're taking the daughter character. It's not his daughter, right? It's like his niece. Yeah, they're taking her away, and he's like, she's got a pacemaker, you jackass.
Yeah.
And like just the accent he says it in, I'm like, that's freaking hilarious. That would be like my, like when you used to set your message tones or whatever. It'd be funny. It's like, you jackass. Yeah. He was really funny in it. Like you said, the entire cast is pretty stellar. People, shout out your favorites in the cast. I like this little category I kind of created up. Like who would you want to see another like 10 to 15 more minutes of in this movie? I was gonna say like the Billy Bob Thornton character. I really had fun with him, but I don't know who would you want to see a little bit more of in this movie that we didn't get.
Well, I will say like the Jessica Henwick character.
Yeah.
I think I'm happy we're getting a sequel, and I think that you'll see her play a lot more of like a bigger role in the next movie. But I probably could have done with a little bit more of her and even Renee Jean Page. Like he played a dash. I don't watch Bridgerton. I've never seen it, but I know all the ladies love him. But he was like pretty. Like I hated the guy. I'm watching. It's like this guy's a dick. So I was like, "You're doing your job, man." So I wouldn't have minded seeing him. Man, Alfre Woodard was fantastic as well, right? As the station boss, the former station boss.
Okay, yeah.
And who blew up the apartment. It's really hard for me to think of anybody else I would have wanted any more time with, except for maybe the guy who trapped Six.
Okay, the obscure eccentric guy, yeah.
Because do you know who that guy is? And those in the chat, if you had watched the original seasons of Mexico, that dude played Pablo Escobar. Oh, okay. And he had gained all that weight to play Pablo Escobar, and obviously from this movie you can see he dropped it off. I was like, this dude looks familiar, but I can't quite put my finger on it. And I was driving me crazy, so I had to look.
Yeah, I actually quite liked how he was like taken out. They're just like, he went so quickly. I think that was one of the kind of things I did like about this movie, that all these kind of operators were very kind of smooth at doing their thing, and like even the when they kind of spoke in code, it did get a little heavy-fisted later on when he was like, "Oh, I lost a wing," and you're like, "Oh, I can still shoot, like do with this." I'm like, "Okay, I think you guys are going a little over the top." But the earlier stuff, especially when they're calling each other Sierra, and I think one of the jokes was like, "You don't throw a loaded gun" type thing.
Yeah,
like, those are really clever. I did like the I think that I don't know what the agent's name. I think he was called like the Lone Wolf or something, like the Dinesh character. He's from he's actually from the Indian cinema. He like kicked their asses. Like
I love that he did that Bruce Lee thing when he went like this.
yeah. He's like, you want to talk this over? Like, can we have a second? He stabs. Like opening gambit is he stabs Gosling like right through the hand right away, and then he also sticks him in the hip with like some scissors or something like that, and you're just like, whoa. And then he kind of just he turns at part way, so maybe some more of his story. But I think everyone got like pretty good time in it. I might have wanted to see, there's a guy at the beginning who played Sierra 6. The guy who kind of like, he's like, "Oh, I'm you, the early version of you," or whatever.
Oh, he wasn't. He wasn't number 6 though. He was another number. But
whatever number he was.
He was the guy who he was the Russian. He was
that guy.
In Batman.
But I kind of liked him, so I was hoping maybe you'd see a couple more flashbacks with him or something like that. Yeah. Lewis is like saying it's a great cast. Like I said, I don't know if I could pinpoint exactly someone yet. So Lewis says Sierra 4. So shout outs to that. But yeah, like you said, everyone did a pretty good job, and it was a star-studded cast. Like almost everyone you kind of recognized. So I thought that was pretty cool. Evans was like really good, I thought.
Yeah, man. When he got, what was the name of Henwick's character? Is it Christina? No, what's her name? Anyways, she's like, "Why are you walking like that?" And he goes, "Because I got shot in the ass."
Got shot in the ass with a trick. he had the goofy shirts. He had like the mustache and everything.
The porn stash and everything else.
Maybe he was what we were going for. Remember Commando when they subbed in that guy to play the evil Freddie Mercury? Maybe they could do a remake of Commando now, and Chris Evans could make that role actually very dangerous. But thanks, guys. Let us know any other closing comments you want to kind of talk about The Gray Man. Looks like generally everybody else enjoyed it along with us. I know Sarah and Gord aren't in the chat today, but they actually did recommend this movie to me before when I was talking to them earlier. So I think they dug it too. But that brings up another just quick point of discussion, Rob. Now we have all these book series heroes. We have our guy Jack Reacher is finally in the mix. The Gray Man is here. We have Jack Ryan, and even John Reese from the Terminal List. Like all kinds of like these kind of novel, like epic novelization type books. I think we do have that Mark Wahlberg Spencer Confidential, I think, is based off a book as well. Like, do you think this is where Netflix or streaming or this is the next untapped market, because comic books now being mined for all our heroes and stuff are now on the screen, so it seems commonplace. So maybe it's time for these book type heroes. Like you said, you're going to pick up the book. I'm probably going to do the audiobook for this series, as well as the Terminal List series, which I've heard is really good. Like, Like, what do you think of these book series heroes coming to life in the big
Well,
screen now?
listen, yeah, like we've the Tom Clancy. We've had think of all those movies. You had the Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games. I mean, all the Harrison Ford ones, like Clear and Present Danger and whatnot. So like
Yeah.
these books have been turned into movies. I do think though that certain books work better as television shows.
Mhm.
We've talked about the fact that we both really enjoyed the first Jack Reacher movie. The second one, not so much. But it works for me, though. That always worked as a book series. And we talked about that when we talked about the show. You and I had those conversations.
Yeah. Pretty satisfied with the overall job of Jack Reacher season 1 in delivering a book's worth of content to you.
Yeah.
In a TV form.
Yeah. Now, I don't think, like, if you look at the James Bond books, I think they're better served as a movie the way it is. I haven't read The Gray Man, so I wouldn't know if it's better served as a movie or as a book. But I think these adaptations, if done well, they can be either the books or television shows or movies. I will say, though, that I've read a lot of the different types of genre books. There's an author by the name of Brad Thor. And I didn't just pick him up because of the name.
Brad Thor.
He had a wicked series of books that I read like about 10 or 15 years ago, and he's still making them. I stopped for his political reasons and his affiliations back in the Trump era. But that was my only protest for him. But they were really good. Like, I really enjoyed the writing, and I was like, man, why are these things not being adapted? Because they would make great movies and TV series. I will say, like, I want to pick up The Gray Man. With the Terminal List, I don't know if I would pick up the books for that one. Like that doesn't seem to have intrigued me enough to want to pick up the books for that. But I mean, I've already read the Reacher books, but if I hadn't, after watching that show, I would totally pick up those books. So yeah, man, if it's done well, push me back to the source material, man. And that's, I'll be picking this book up for sure.
Yeah. I have a feeling for the Terminal List. I'm actually maybe going to enjoy the books a little bit more. I did have the books recommended to me.
Yeah, but did you finish the series?
No, I haven't. See, that's the issue, right? It's still I'm stuck in this vortex of things that I want to sit down and watch, and sometimes you just don't have an opportunity to just sit down and watch and concentrate on what's going on. You have time to put something in the background and watch Boo Bitch or whatever, You haven't heard that one where the girl turns into the ghost?
No,
it's on Netflix.
First of all, you didn't enunciate it that well, so I thought it
was bitch.
I thought it was something completely different.
Anyways, okay, so if you guys enjoyed The Gray Man, our quick recommendation at 100% is going to be Jack Reacher, that first movie with Tom Cruise, I think, right?
Yeah,
I think it's got very similar beats. For this movie, I really did like the action. You said I thought it was really, really solid. I think towards the end, like that train sequence is going to be my favorite. That big fight in the city center, I think, is going to be my favorite scene. I don't know if you have a favorite scene.
Who did a better train sequence, this or Shang-Chi?
Oh shoot, that Shang-Chi sequence is really good, man. Yeah. That you picked arguably the best point in the Shang-Chi movie, so it's hard to not give that to Shang-Chi. But I'd say this is really good. If this is what Netflix is going to do, you said the budget was pretty high, so I think that's higher than most of the Netflix movie projects we've seen. But you could tone it down. You don't have to be as crazy, right? And just be clever with those sequences. Anything else you would recommend to people if they like this, Rob?
Well, I'm going to recommend a book.
Yeah. Oh, look at you.
All right.
Look at him sliding around. He's got so much room.
It's this author named Terry Hayes. He's written. He's been a playwright as well. And he's a producer on Road Warrior, Dead Calm. This book came out. Oh God, it's got to be like 10 years ago or more than that. It's called I Am Pilgrim.
Okay.
It is like an espionage. As well. So it says an anonymous young woman murdered in a rundown hotel, all identifying characteristics dissolved by acid, John. Yada yada. It's a plot against crime and humanity, and one path links them all. Only one man can make the journey. Pilgrim. He's a former CIA agent or whatever. Oh. It's a hell of a thick book, bud.
Yeah.
The printing is like 8 point.
Whoa.
is tiny, but I gotta say,
just
man,
agree.
this is one hell of a wicked book, and it really kept my attention. So, if you were looking for something, this is a bit more heavier than the Jack Reacher books. It definitely isn't as fast paced, but it is really rewarding. So, John's got your recommendation on a TV series or a movie, and I'm going to give you a recommendation on a book. I Am Pilgrim.
Yes, I Am
Definitely
Pilgrim.
pick it up, man.
Rob's recommending that. Another one did come to mind, Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. That is also based off of a book by Willie Swagger. I feel like it does have a similar feel to this movie. And I will shout out, there was another movie that was based off a book, Rob. I don't know if you remember. It's called like something Assassin. And it's based off a book. It had I don't remember what it's called. Anyways, something Assassin or something. It was American Assassin or something like that. Wasn't that recent?
Yeah. I have that somewhere.
Yeah. I heard the movie I actually didn't like, but I actually heard the book is like a lot better, and it's a whole series.
Yeah, the whole series of books. Unfortunately, the author died really young. Like he was in his 40s, I think, when he passed away. But those books are actually really, really cool. If you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Bourne movies, well, obviously you want to go check those out. If it's been a long time, I think you go back and watch those. Those first Bourne movies, man, are so
first one,
tight, right? Yeah. They're awesome. Also, dude, I would highly recommend. We got to watch this one day. I'm waiting for it to come on streaming. I own it. But The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
Oh,
I'm telling you, got to watch this movie. Yeah,
is it John Woo?
No,
or am I thinking of a different movie? I'm thinking of Paycheck.
The
Accountant. It's a newer movie, right? Came out like maybe before the pandemic or something like that, or like.
Oh yeah. It was like 2018 or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely recommend if people haven't seen that. That's a hell of a lot of fun, and also you can't go wrong. It's on Netflix right now. The Equalizer. The Equalizer, the two movies with Denzel Washington. I'm telling you, you guys would love that. So
okay. I never watched the second one, so I have to get to it. I did watch an episode of the TV show. It seemed all right. It seemed like fun.
All right.
Anyways, thanks everybody for talking about The Gray Man with us. If you have seen it, let us know in the comments what you thought of it. Do you agree with Rotten Tomatoes? I feel like that's harsh. 46%. Yeah. I feel like maybe it should have, like, from those critics, maybe you're not into that stuff. I think it's at least worth a 6 or 7. I would probably give it a solid 8 and kind of lean on the upper end. Especially
I would go like an 8.5, to be honest with you. It was a lot of fun, and I want to watch this movie again.
Yeah. I watched the entire first portion a second time because I watched it and then I had to restart it. And I was like, why don't I just restart it from the beginning? So I actually watched that entire first half like twice.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Fraser. Thanks for joining us during the vacay. Fraser gave it an 8 out of 10. So I think that's around where it sits. 8 or 10, 7 or 8, I think. But Rob, what are we doing next week? We talked a little bit about Prey at the top of the show.
We did.
Predator comic book coming out.
A lot of we thought there was going to be a new Predator movie starring Bill Cosby, but that's not too bad.
No,
different type of Predator. There's been a lot of reviews where people have said Prey, the new Predator movie, is the second best Predator movie. I'm not going to tell you whether I agree or disagree with that. All I do know is that some people would probably say, well, hang on a second. There's a lot of Predator movies. Not only do you have Predator, you got the sequel, then you have Predators, then you have The Predator. You also have Alien versus Predator and Predator versus... Like, we have a lot. But
let's consolidate into Predator solo, like Predators only movies.
But we're going to go to the one that most people have always said is the second best Predator movie up until Prey. And that, John, is Predator 2.
Predator 2, where he comes to the city and fights our guy from Lethal Weapon, right? Is it Danny Glover?
Yeah, Danny Glover. Yeah, he's getting too old for this Predator.
Yeah.
There's a Predator that goes to LA.
Well, the Predator in Los Angeles.
1997.
My hot take, Predator's kind of a punk because he comes in with all this technology and he hunts people with it's like if you had some cheat, it's basically those kind of guys that cheat in video games or whatever, right? They have the auto aiming thing that always gets them a headshot. I'm like, yo, Predator, why don't you tone it down and leave some of your gi behind if you're really about the sport of it. But Predator 2, I think
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, Predator 2 Electric, that would have sold more tickets. I remember I remember liking this when I was a kid.
Yep.
But I haven't seen it since I was in the basement with a bunch of my buddies watching it on a VHS rental. So I wonder how it holds up today. And I think when we were doing our lists before and Predator 1 came up, a lot of people said Predator 2 is no slouch.
Yeah.
So we're gonna watch Predator 2. Like you said, it's on Disney.
It's on Disney Plus right now.
App if you're in Canada, and all the Predators on there. So bonus points if you go and watch Predators. Which was the one where it's like a whole misfit of people with Topher Grace and Walter Goggins and a whole bunch.
Yeah, they go to the Predator homeworld.
yeah. They land on some planet and they have to deal with it. And then the newer one, I think it's called The Predator,
right?
Olivia Munn and a whole bunch of. I forgot it.
It was directed by Shane Black, who was in the first Predator movie.
Yeah. It's got one of the guys from Key and Peele. I think Jordan Peele in it as well. And and I've heard both ends of the spectrum on that one. From it's like a lousy piece of trash to it's okay. They play the A-Team song. It's 80s cheese. So if you have time to go through those, definitely pop those on. I think I'm probably gonna aim to watch Predator 2 and the one right before it, I guess, which is the Predator. So I think it says you got a few days to kill.
Yeah. So listen,
what a great poster. Too bad they got rid of this one. Hey, this is the original. This is what you're gonna see when you go to your new app. Which even for Predator 1, Rob, I don't know if you've seen the Blu-ray or DVD on the shelves now. It doesn't even have Arnold on it. It only has the Predator on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, what a sad day that Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't.
He got booted off.
Doesn't deserve to be on the cover of your disc, and a hunting alien is going to be on there.
Yeah. So as we said, Prey is getting a lot of hype about being the second best Predator movie. Has it dethroned Predator 2, John? We are definitely going to be checking this out. We would recommend and encourage you to check it out as well. As John said, it is on Disney Plus in Canada. I actually believe it's on. It would be on your Stars in the US if you're listening to us online in the US. But tune in next week. Join us next Monday, 8:15 p.m. live right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. It's Predator 2, Danny Glover's Boogaloo.
Yeah, Predator in an urban setting. We've
in Los Angeles in the 90s, dude.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. And watch the other Predators if you have time. We'll do maybe we'll do a comparison if we all have time to catch most of them. My hair's gone out of control. Shout outs to this little comment here that Steve had. Jeremy Renner proves he can't hold up a Born Legacy. Yeah, with that Treadstone influence movie.
And there's also
that wasn't his fault.
There's a Treadstone TV show.
I tried too. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all. I tried. But I wanted that Jeremy Renner movie starts off really good, and then it turns into an utter piece of trash. And it doesn't even have a real ending. I don't know if you remember, Rob, but the ending is like really ridiculous. They just end up on a dock, and he takes off on a motorcycle, and they just end. It's like almost like we ran out of money for the last 20 minutes.
I don't even think they could afford the Moby song.
Yeah. So we're just cutting it now, and that's it. So. Shout outs to this character. I think Michoko, which Steve mentioned, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it, was like this female character that fights the Predator from the comic series. So we'll see if that ever gets to show up. So watch Predator 2, folks. Tune in next week. We're going back. Did you say it was from the 80s, Rob, or is it 90s?
No, it's in the 90s, I think.
90s? Okay, so we're in the 90s still, folks. It'll be fun to go back and watch an older movie. Yeah. And especially if you watch the new one, which I'm pretty impressed. The first half of it I saw so far. So thank you, Rob.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, everybody in the chat. We will check you guys on the next one.